Today, we're diving deep into a major tradition within Hinduism, one that puts the feminine aspect of God right at the very center of everything. So get ready, we're exploring the absolutely fascinating world of Shaktism.
And really, it all starts with this one powerful question. What if the ultimate reality was female? Imagine a universe where the supreme power, that creative force, the absolute truth, isn't a father figure, but is instead envisioned as the Divine Mother. The Divine Mother is just this incredible study in contrasts. On one hand, you have someone like Kali, this fierce, terrifying embodiment of destruction. And on the other, Kamala, the gentle, serene goddess of abundance. This amazing range, from the fearsome to the nurturing, is absolutely key to understanding the goddess.
So what is Shaktiism when you get right down to it? Well, it's a major branch of Hinduism that's all about the worship of the goddess, who is often called Shakti or Devi. But in this worldview, she isn't just a deity. She is the supreme reality. She's the motivating force behind, well, everything in the universe.
And the thing is, the goddess is never just one thing. She's worshipped in this whole multitude of forms. She can be the warrior Durga, who's fighting for cosmic order, or the intense Kali, who just dissolves all our illusions. She can be the nurturing mother Parvati, or the gentle, kind Lakshmi, who brings prosperity. Every single face reveals another aspect of her absolute power. And believe me, this is not some new idea. The reverence for a divine feminine power has incredibly deep roots in the Indian subcontinent. We're talking roots that stretch back tens of thousands of years.
I mean, just look at this. We have evidence of goddess worship going all the way back to the Paleolithic era. That's more than 20,000 years ago. It keeps going through the Neolithic age, and by the time of the Indus Valley civilization, these female statues were found in pretty much every single household, pointing to a huge fertility cult. But it's really during the Gupta age that Shaktism as we know it starts to take shape with its foundational scriptures.
And the philosophy of Shaktism is so powerfully captured in what is probably its single most important text, an epic story that basically lays out the entire worldview.
And that text is the Devi Mahatma, which literally translates to the glory of the goddess. It was written down somewhere around the 5th century CE, and it's so much more than a story. It's this deep philosophical work that really became the cornerstone for the whole Shaktism tradition. You really can't overstate how important this text is. It's one of the earliest complete manuscripts of its kind, and what it did was systematize the worship of the goddess. It elevated her to this central, supreme role that had been a little less defined in some of the earlier traditions. Okay, to really get a handle on its importance, think of it this way. What the Bhagavad Gita is for followers of Krishna, the Devi Mahatmya is for followers of the goddess. They're both seen as these essential philosophical guides within their traditions, and they both hold just immense spiritual weight. So what's the story about? Well, it's a classic cosmic battle. The forces of evil, led by this demon Mahishasura, they're overwhelming the gods. So the goddess appears as the warrior Durga. She rides into battle, slays the demon, and restores order. It just brilliantly illustrates this core idea that ultimate reality can be both the fierce power that saves the world and the gentle force, Lakshmi, who nurtures the peaceful world that comes after. Now, while the Devi Mahatmya really highlights her role as this warrior and provider, Shaktism explores her full spectrum through this absolutely fascinating group of deities, the 10 wisdom goddesses. And this group is called the Dasa Mahavidya. Let's break that down. Dasa is 10, Maha is great, and Vidya is wisdom. The 10 great wisdoms. And these are distinct, independent deities. And let me tell you, some of them represent ideas that are truly radical, even for today. So first, you've got Kali. Her imagery is intense, right? She's naked, dark-skinned, wearing a garland of heads and a skirt of severed hands. But this is not about horror. She's the raw, untamable power of time and transformation that exists beyond all illusion. She destroys the ego, that's what the heads represent, to grant ultimate liberation. And then there's Chinnamasta, the beheaded one. And yeah, it's a shocking image. She's holding her own severed head, and jets of blood from her neck are nourishing her and her attendants. The symbolism, though, is so profound. She is both the giver and the taker of life, a radical vision of self-sacrifice as the engine of creation, representing the entire life cycle in one dramatic form. And then we have Dhumavati, the widow goddess. She embodies everything society considers inauspicious: old age, poverty, loss. Her wisdom is maybe the most challenging of all. By embracing her, her followers learn to find freedom not by chasing pleasure, but by looking directly at hardship and realizing the divine is present even there, beyond all those dualities.
And to complete the whole spectrum, we come back to Kamala, the beautiful lotus goddess. She is the embodiment of fortune, pleasure, and grace. Her presence reminds us that the exact same ultimate reality that shows up as Dhumavati's desolation also appears as pure abundance. It's just incredible. The divine feminine contains all possibilities.
So, with a deity this complex, this vast, how do people even approach her?
Well, Shaktism offers 3 main paths of worship.
These 3 paths offer different ways in. You have the tribal or folk path, which is probably the oldest. It's really rooted in the earth, in the community, and it's focused on local goddesses for practical things, like healing and fertility. Then there's the bhakti path, which is all about pure, heartfelt devotion, seeing the goddess as a loving mother and seeking salvation through that emotional connection. And finally, you have the tantric path, which uses specific techniques like meditation and rituals as a way to transform yourself from the inside out and attain knowledge and ultimate liberation.
And this core tantric idea really highlights a radical shift. See, unlike worship that's based on the separation between you and the divine, the goal here is non-duality. The aim isn't just to pray to the goddess, but to realize the goddess within yourself, to actually merge with that divine consciousness.
And that brings us to our final thought. Shaktism offers this complete spiritual universe, all centered on the feminine. And it really forces us to ask, what changes? What changes in our values, in our society, even in how we see ourselves, when the ultimate creator, protector, and destroyer has a female face?